Wow, I look so funny today. uh, One of the benefits of going abroad is to become more aware of what we often perceive as the status quo in our home countries and take them for granted. So the more I learn and familiarize myself with other cultures and lifestyles, especially Western culture, the more I see how much valuable my Vietnamese root is to who I've become today. And I want to talk about it. Just a disclaimer, this is just my own experience. Other Vietnamese will think differently. I'm totally aware of the limitation of my own opinion, and there's no need to argue whether or not my opinion is universally true. So that's clear, let's get started. Number one, if you were born as a Vietnamese, you would grow up with freaking healthy and delicious food. I wasn't aware of this until I went overseas. One complaint that I often heard when I was a kid was that there's not enough veggies in other countries when we Vietnamese travel. And my first trip overseas was to Singapore when I was in high school, and I remember how frantically everybody was trying to order extra veggies on addition to their portion. And one of the general complaints that I heard from the aunties and the uncles in the same tour with me was, we're all gonna get constipation because restaurants in Singapore do not give us enough veggies. So I thought that was a Singaporean problem. Maybe Singaporeans just don't eat enough veggies. Little did I know, we Vietnamese are the problem. We just love veggies so much, too much even. Most of the time we eat freshly cooked food. Our food variety is also huge. We have plenty different kinds of fish, of meat, and of vegetables. And the way we season our food is also very diverse. And when you're here in Australia and having Western food on a daily basis, you would realize how heavenly Vietnamese food is. It's very rare in Vietnam to see huge people, but here in Australia, I'm still shocked about the obesity scene. And I heard that in the US it's even worse. I guess people just love eating junk food. I don't know, but in Vietnam, fast food like Macca's is very expensive and not at all tasty compared to all other cheap food vendors. And I think since I grew up with very healthy and fresh food, I never find junk food appetizing at all, ever. Number two, being financially conscious. I'm not sure if this is a Vietnamese thing or just how my parents educated me, but when I found out that how much people in other countries, especially the US, are comfortable with sitting on a pile of debt, I was so amazed. I would not be able to sleep well at night if I know that I owe somebody some money and the debt would haunt me every waking moment of my life. What I've learned as a kid, you have to do your best to not be in debt. And when you're in debt, try to get rid of the debt as soon as possible. I was taught to always live below my means, and I'm surprised that this is the thing that people need to be told. I guess Vietnam is still a developing country and we just got out of poverty really recently. Many parts of Vietnam are still in poverty, so consumerism is not a thing here at all, not yet. So financial awareness is more like a survival skill. So when I heard about how big of an issue credit card debt is in the US, I was so confused because how do people get into credit card debt in the first place? Like, do they spend more than they earn, or do they forget to pay their credit cards? And how could they spend more than they earn? And if they forget, how could they forget? Because I used to own a credit card a few years ago, and I know that the interest rate is really high. I still don't really get it. This morning I listened to a podcast by The Financial Diet, and she talks about how Americans often normalize the fact that they are being in debt. So I guess it's the norm. They buy cars with loan, buy houses with loan, and even going to uni with loans. I mean, houses and uni and maybe car makes sense, but credit card being wasteful is also a crime. When I was a kid, I was told to always eat everything in my bowl and not throw food away. When we went to restaurant, we always packed food home if we couldn't finish. And here in Australia, when I used to work as a waitress for a while, I was horrified about how much food that people couldn't finish ended up in the bin. I think if I were to grow up in the Western world, I wouldn't have been so financially conscious and wouldn't have had such a good relationship with money and material things in general. Number three, being appreciative and not complain about the world. It is raining outside. I observe that the more developed the country that the people are from, the higher the standard they hold about absolutely everything. I mean, it's a very good thing because everything and everyone is pushed to become better, to be more perfect. However, there's also a downside that people tend to complain a lot more. According to my German boyfriend, Germans already complain if their bus or train is 2 minutes late. I, as a Vietnamese, I'm already glad that there's a bus to where I want to go. 2 years ago, I think, I visited Vietnam, and when I saw that there's a big proper bus stop with electronic signs showing the bus information in the middle of District 1, I was so excited because most of the time the bus stop neither show the schedule nor the bus information. These days the buses in Ho Chi Minh City announce which stop it is, and you can even press the button to signal the bus driver to stop at your stop. Back then you had to yell like "Chú ơi, ghé trạm," and many times if you yell too early, the bus driver would forget. So such a big improvement. When I lived in Singapore, there was one time the Orchard Road, which is the main shopping area in Singapore, was flooded for some hours because of long and heavy rain. Singaporeans were really pissed, and they even filed complaints to the government. And I was like, dude, chill. You should go to Vietnam and live in Saigon for 6 months during this rainy season, and you would be so glad that Orchard was only flooded for a few hours. You don't know how much I appreciate the Australian government website, because everything from regulations, tax to visa application procedures is so well presented and it's so easy to navigate around. There are even videos and illustrations to really show you how it works, and how crazy is that? That's why I don't understand how people who already lived in the developed countries could complain about the systems and stuff. I mean, complaining is also a great way to make things better, to make sure that we're not complacent. However, I also think that we can also make things better by being appreciative, by recognizing how well other people in our country have done their job, though many things do need to be improved. If you're Vietnamese, do you have any other perks of being born as a Vietnamese that you want to share? Please feel free to write in the comments. And if you are from other countries, what are the perks of being born there? I would love to know. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for your time. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.